Very good. And I think we've got, is it Maureen, is it your desktop that we're viewing?
Yes, it is. Helene,
Okay,
did you
great.
want to say anything before I start?
As everyone knows, can everybody hear me? Yes,
Yep,
we're good.
yep.
Okay. So as everybody knows, we've been going through this process for the last few months. We've met with you, we've met with the staff twice, we've done surveys, we've done community conversations. And for the past couple of weeks, Nancy, Jan, myself, and Maureen have been working, fleshing out, getting all these things together to come out with something for you to look at today. And we'll go back to the staff again, but we're zeroing in, and we're kind of really excited about it. So it's been good work, a lot of distilling, a lot of information. So I know you had a chance to look at this and also the existing plan, and you can see kind of why we chose the format we did. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Maureen right now.
Sure. And the one thing I would add is we've been working to get this document to you as a draft, so that you have the opportunity for a review and to share any comments with us. So what I thought I would do is go through each section, and when we get to the goals, we'll take each goal in turn to see what comments or discussion you may want to have. So the first one is the mission, and I presume everyone can see it on the screen, so that I can just let you take a few moments to look at it before, and when anyone's ready to offer a comment, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Maureen, you know what would help? If you don't mind just narrating, each one of the goals and then comment after each one of them.
So you'd like me to read, David,
Yeah,
right?
sure, that'd be great.
Sure. So the mission that we have identified for the library is, the mission of the Fairfield Public Library is to inspire lifelong learning, promote literacy, provide information access, and strengthen our community.
Okay.
So how does that sound to all of you, board members?
This is Duncan.
I will tell you it meets the test.
And
Go ahead, Duncan.
What test is that, Maureen?
The test of an effective mission. An effective mission is brief, memorable, and it conveys purpose.
Got it. Yeah. The only question I have is the last phrase, strengthen our community. So I completely agree that the work itself, the mission itself, elements of would be strengthen our community, but do we want to describe how we would strengthen our community?
Usually in a mission statement, you don't address how, you're more describing what that purpose is.
Yeah.
But let's hold that idea, because as we get into the goals, there might be a place.
Yeah. The only suggestion I'd have there then would just be, and in turn, strengthen our community, or some linkage there. But again, let's table that and address it. But
okay.
And it's, again, small wording, peccadillos, but something to think about there.
Okay. And I'm making notes on a print version of it rather than trying to do it on the screen.
And I'd like to make a comment, Duncan, that is a good point. I did think of that as well when I read that earlier today, is, maybe a slight edit to that would be something along the lines of, and to strengthen the bond between the library and the community. But I think the bond, and advocacy, and we might see that throughout, but ultimately what we're looking to do with our mission, our strategic plan is, everything that we're doing around all of our programs and these strategic plans is there's always going to be the constant, it's not a struggle, but we're in an era where there's almost a declining interest to books and the analog world. So how can we create that importance and that tie with the community? So maybe something to consider around bond or the tie.
Okay.
Maureen, it's Christina. It was funny because I think I was pleased to see community in there. I hear what David and Duncan are saying. I'm going foster. So I guess that term strengthen is, I guess I just want to, and I'm looking at the goals. So what does that mean, strengthen? Again, I think community is important. Trying to look at and again, I just looked at this at 6 o'clock because I just tried to get off of work somewhat. So, so that's, I I think it makes sense, inspire lifelong learning, promote literacy, provide information access. Yeah, that's yes. I want to know a little bit more about what does that mean to strengthen? Is it foster community? So that's the one thing. Though, again, I think community, but that's the one thing that I think people, clearly we're seeing it here, like, what does that mean? So if that could be fleshed out about how did the 3 or 4 of you get to that, and what does that mean, and maybe flesh it out in the goals.
Okay, I'm making note of all of this, but it also occurs to me that, David, it might make sense to have an understanding that after the meeting today, if anyone on the board has further thinking, to submit that to Helena. Because I'm thinking, Christina, you're probably not the only one who didn't have enough time to really work with this. So,
Yeah.
And I'm also very mindful we've got a short amount of time this evening, and we don't want to short circuit your input on this. But I will tell you that one of the things that delighted me about the community conversations, particularly the 2 that we had with community leaders, is they really see a role for the library in strengthening the community.
Okay.
So however we want to end up with the wording there, as you're pointing out, it's an important piece of the mission. Any other comments on mission before we turn to vision? So the vision's purpose is to convey what the aspirations are for the future, what the library hopes to be in the future. So the way we've crafted it, it reads, your central community source for knowledge, discovery, and connection.
I like that.
And Christina's smiling. I can see you and David on my screen. That's it right now. So I'll move along. There are 4 goals. The first one is to be a hub of lifelong learning and enrichment. And this is where we picked up the format from the previous strategic plan. We're continuing to say, under the larger goal, what the library will do. So there are 4 items here. The library will manage the collections to reflect broad interests and stimulate new ideas. The library will offer programs, and we've identified 2 components of this. The first is programs that focus on education, enlightenment, and enjoyment, and also programs that are offered in different modalities. And then the third one, provide an environment that is welcoming and appealing to all. And then the fourth and last in this goal is identify ways to reach and serve potential new library users.
Excellent.
I have to tell you, your leadership team of the library did a lot of work on this one.
Yeah, I'm sure that they had some great input on it, and I'm glad they were able to get that engagement from, the staff as well as the community and community leaders. That's great to hear.
Yeah, and the survey results influence this as well.
Okay.
I like the line about identify ways to reach and serve potential new library users. I love that reach. It's such an action item to me. I think that's so important.
I also think it's great to have the diversity and equity and an inclusive language in there regarding welcoming and appealing to all. So that's very important. Maureen, you didn't talk about, when I was looking at it, I was going, okay, physical too, because we know how important physical is. And you did not read the space planning part of it.
I haven't gone far enough.
Okay, that's also in goal 1 too. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that's our,
I think that Maureen has an older version. The space planning was added on.
Okay, thank you. Because I was happy to see it in there. I don't know if that language, exactly. I don't know if that language could be tightened up a little bit, but I was glad
it definitely has to be.
Okay,
Yeah, so
great, Helene.
You will
this
see.
is so much fun. The 3 of you continue to work on this, and I don't have the current version.
No, I think
so cool.
This is the thing we added, and you had said No, we did show it. Continue space planning and design in both physical locations to meet the needs of our patrons and or accommodate ever-changing technologies and other library trends. Way too wordy. We're throwing it up there and looking at ideas. So that, no, Maureen, that
Okay.
was the only thing we added.
Okay. So any further discussion on goal 1?
I think that's good. Just one quick observation is it was just hard to follow which one was 1, 2, or 3. Are there bullets because there's no bullets on there? Or are
It
they
should be bullets. And it's bullets under goal 1. We'll have bullets, and we need to clean up the other programs bullet because it's kind of just an idea. It's not neat.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say once it's finalized, if we just add the bullets and sub bullets, so we can clearly see like,
Sure.
okay, so that's related to this, one core bullet, or these are the 4 bullets within each goal.
Great.
Great.
One comment I just want to make is I'm not really sure where this kind of fits. I'm thinking within here, but I'm really big on the idea that the library remotely, as we were just been doing, and in person is really a place to learn, share, and create. Right? Because we have all these wonderful programs where people are learning how to do certain things. They're learning how to create things. They're learning how to share, and they're sharing that with each other. I just think maybe there could be some kind of, action verbs in there somewhere along those lines, right?
Great. I've made note, Jill, of your phrase, learn, share, and create. We'll see what we can do. That's great.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on goal 1?
I think we're good.
So goal 2 is to expand our digital capacity and presence. And the sub goals under this are: the library will plan for the future by monitoring trends and developments, expand utilization of digital resources to enable access for people whenever they need it, wherever they are, reach out to town departments to build internal efficiencies, acquire more digital resources, and support professional development of staff. Any comments or points on this one?
This is Duncan. Just to clarify on goal 2, so we're expanding our digital capability and our digital presence.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Nope, no questions there.
So I want to just say something before we leave this one, particularly in the sessions with community leaders. The idea that the town needs to be more efficient and effective as an organization came up, and the individuals see a role for the library in helping that. That's why this is here. And for me, that's really significant. I've never had that happen before.
Can you expand on that a little more? I'm unsure of that third point there in terms of building internal efficiencies.
So there are community leaders who see the need for the town to be more effective as an organization with how it handles information, how it improves its processes, and makes resources available to the community. And they see that the library can play a role in that work. I don't know if Helene or Jan or Nancy would want to add.
Nancy, do you want to give the example that you came up with the fire department? Is Nancy there?
Yeah, I'm here. It took me a second to unmute myself. Yes, so I was in on the community leader discussions, and the fire chief was in that group, and he talked about how the library for him is a safe place. It's a place where you can have honest and transparent conversations, and not only him but other community leaders also felt that the library should be the leader in terms of the depository for information within town departments. It should be the place where everyone goes to first to get their information.
So if somebody also, the idea is if somebody had wanted to get employed by the town and study for the fire exam or the police department or something like this, that these resources would be there. So that this would be a place for them to go. So to be part of it.
Basically for the library to be partnering more.
Right.
with the
Right,
various
but not
tech
only
departments.
not only partnering, but actually being the leaders in a lot of this. That we
Wow.
would be the ones that kind of drive things in terms of departments.
Like to be an information destination that the
Yes,
community, whether it's, existing and, longstanding residents or even new residents that move to town that are aware of, hey, we can go to the library for all this information.
And other departments, and we go through this a little bit, like economic development knows to call us all the time, or the Bigelow Center, and to share information or things like that. And if we're doing a survey, or you doing a survey and trying to communicate. So that's what they're looking for us to be more at central location.
So that makes a lot of sense. And with that knowledge, I think that there's some wording that we could probably benefit on that third bullet, and maybe even the goal in itself. Just expanding our digital capability and presence, to me, if I'm a patron or even, just part of the FPL, it just seems like, okay, we're just gonna, access more databases and we're gonna build more, sites that people can log into. Would we want to consider something around, expanding our digital, resources and communications, or
I
something
think
something that's beyond just like building more inventory of features or services?
I think if you look further down in goal 3 is probably more what you're talking about in terms of that, because goal 2 really is about the digital capabilities and how we can help other town departments within that framework.
Okay.
And correct me
Well,
if I'm wrong.
that's certainly a good perspective. Number 2 could inform number 3. Okay.
Do we provide a repository now, Helene, for like town information? Like, do we keep things on file so people can access certain things? But do we have some kind of a?
You know what? And we always had a computer that people could watch old meetings on, archive meetings on and things like that. But now we're working with them to move everything to YouTube. So that's kind of different. A little bit, it's kind of split up because we have the museum. So a lot of the historical things got moved over to the museum, but the museum shares our catalog, and that's, but just the catalog. So it's interesting. Yes, we do have things, but it's.
Yeah, because we have the museum.
We specialize a little bit. The museum specialized.
Can I make a comment just about, and I know this is draft, so acquire more digital resources. I think we can fluff up the language. I wish I had an example. Okay, you know that. Okay, and then
no, but definitely this is a draft, and sometimes we went and we got so wordy, and then we said, you know what, maybe it's better just put this down, and then we'll get some feedback from you so you could get to the language and then throw.
I completely agree, since I'm in this, and that's the same for, it was funny. I was reading expand utilization of digital resources, and I immediately went to wherever they are. So I think that's another thing. Great, whenever, wherever, understand where you're trying to get at, but just, it's like we make it a little bit more, hate to use the word sexy, but I'm just thinking because that's what this is, right?
I mean, we want marketers sitting right in front of my on my screen.
Exactly. So that's the one. I know what you're saying. I just think we want to sexy it up a bit.
And I think the phrase "fluffing it up" for the people of Fairfield is the right way to go. In fact, I think, David, you were getting at fluffing it up in the goal statement to just make it more.
Sure. I think that we can do it. I mean, it's good to have this read through as a draft, and we'll be able to enhance that a little bit more.
Yeah, just makes it more
just the way this is going. I want to encourage all of you to take a look at this again in the next couple of days and put to screen or paper some of your thoughts about how to fluff up the language. I love that phrase.
Yeah.
So anything else in this goal? So goal 3 is to sustain partnerships and build community collections. And here the library will identify organizations whose goals align with ours, consider potential new areas where we can apply our successful service models, and pursue grant opportunities to support our partnerships. Comments, suggestions here?
Nope, I think this is great.
Good with everybody? So pull me back if I'm going too fast. Goal 4 is to strengthen community awareness and support for the library's mission and services. And to accomplish this, the library will create a marketing plan, redesign the website to be more graphically based, identify and engage potential ambassadors to ensure widespread support of the library.
I love that. I would like to see something in there. I mean, we talk about partnerships, right? Around grant opportunities, which is something one of our trustee applicants actually mentioned to us in our interviews about, new areas that we can seek those grant opportunities. But I would love to see something in here about us partnering with these ambassadors, right? Like I've been thinking a lot lately of the Sacred Heart Theater. That's come a long way. Maybe there is something in there about partnering with fellow community members or partnering with, businesses. I know that the chamber really wants to start partnering with various resources in town. So I don't know, just something in there about like networking, right?
Yeah. In almost every community conversation, the opportunity to partner with theater and or the 2 universities came up.
Yeah, I think there's a big networking opportunity for us there.
Yep. Other thoughts on this one?
I think points 1 and 2 are somewhat related, that the website is more of a tactical, the marketing plan is the strategic component of it, and the website would be one of those areas.
Tactics.
I don't think that we have to take it off when we may want to consider that the website was actually something that we talked about back in September. But we've held on doing anything until we've had, this readout of the strategic plan. I mean, that's certainly something we're going to start discussing probably for the second half of the year. But I see like the website as being a bit more tactical than the strategic first bullet.
Okay, good. Other suggestions for us?
Just a global question on this. And again, obviously we need to solidify the goals first, but have we started to think about how we're going to measure the goals, right? And our progress towards those, right, and getting specific on the outcomes, right? So if we're going to expand our digital capability, what's the objective, right? Obviously we have the specific actions we're going to do, but how are we going to think about, okay, you know what, we nailed that goal. What's the sort of thought in the process now around setting, I don't know if it's timelines or benchmarks or milestones or anything like that against which we'd operate?
I agree.
Great point.
Some kind of measurement in there, an assessment, reassessing or assessing things that we do as we go along, right, to see if I totally on the same page, Duncan.
Along with kind of like an update to the plan. I know the plan that's currently on our website, it's got a bit of a grid that talks about, and I don't know if it's still there, Helene.
Yes, it is.
Okay. It shows, I think, the progress to completion. A lot of the times when we see those timelines, they're just, words on the page unless we have a mechanism to be able to share out the reportings. Like maybe there's I think quarterly is too often, but could we do like an annual report to our patrons as, an update? We did last year that great infographic.
Well, we do that every year. Yeah.
Okay. But maybe there would be a readout of, against our strategic plans as part of our sort of annual report to the community that includes an update of how we've done against our strategic plan. That might be, the tool that we all as a board use as sort of like our main compass, like, hey, we've got the strategic plan, but remember, at the end of the year, we owe the community an update against our plan in this annual report.
Yes, but I hope you realize every time I give my report to you, the director's report, It's the goals that we have and it's the accomplishment. So yes, I agree with you, but no, that's what I'm reporting on, how it feeds into how.
Yeah, definitely
No, I
agree.
know what you're asking for, but know that like we have those things, but they're going under a heading every month. It goes under a heading to
Yep.
show you, right?
Oh,
And you were saying take this a step further, if I'm understanding right, and quarterly or something. We have something that the public, well, they can look at this also,
yeah, I think
but something
quarterly,
more
just being
formalized.
quarterly is really aggressive. I'm talking about condensing kind of like an end of the year report to the community
Hmm.
that would abbreviate all that.
Right. I mean, because like I know we just started talking about Sacred Heart, but we've been working with Sacred Heart for the past, I don't even want to say about year and a half, trying to get a partnership going, and they're wonderful, and we will never give up because we're getting in that theater. But it's just funny because we meet with Bill and Bill is great and we've had 15 tours. I don't want to get Nancy on the screen because she'll lose her mind. And then we're right on the cusp and then we don't hear from him for 3 months and then he'll call back and like anything else, everybody's busy. I feel like we're close, but I think it'll be great if you want to have that, and then the community can
Yeah.
see how the steps, how everything fits. It's just
Yeah, and something that's simple, just as a way of, as opposed to, a plan that just exists on the website, and a lot of patrons know that there are certain plans with organizations, but we just, and that's part of the marketing plan. It's just being proactive of being able to give a readout, end of the year report. We've got this great plan. We've got an update for you. So I think we're all on the same page there.
Yeah. And for me, it's all part of the implementation planning work that needs to be done. And I'll just remind you, one of the things that I found so attractive about this library is that the library's been working with an action plan format for some period of time. And David, I think adding to that action plan, the success indicators or the measures would not be difficult at all.
Right. Yeah, good point.
Helene and Maureen, I'm in the middle of this right now, as you know, and so we've been spending this week, we were discussing brainstorming our values. Is that something that I was not included, I think, in, maybe I'm wrong because I'm just looking, I'm only looking at this document, the 2016-2021, but is that something you're also going to include in the strategic plan?
Well, the values kind of when we brainstormed with all of you before and we brainstormed with staff. So we had that when the first session, we talked about equity, diversity, like when you met with us. So we're not printing it, we're not putting it, it's
okay. That might be, that's a definite an academic that might, I know that when academic libraries share, so maybe that's, I don't know about public libraries, but I'm
it gets a little, you get lost in the weeds. We looked at a lot of websites.
Okay, so you're saying that usually they don't communicate, public libraries
you can, but distilling down all the values and also given the climate we're in right now, I really, there's a lot, you miss one value and it can throw we did the values as a brainstorming. We're trying to make this more concise, a working document.
And when you say you did the values for brainstorming, did you so you looked at the goals too to make sure that they were mapping with it, like
yes, we did. And like I said, we took things you said in your session and things the staff, and then that was the because certain things that people were throwing out terms were values more than goals or mission, or so we had to group them into buckets.
Okay.
So we do have a draft set of values, but as I remember it, Helene, the other thing that that caused us not to put it in this document is they were more guiding principles for the organization.
Right. I mean, we can share what we distilled down. I can give that to all of you. It just, we were trying to get a working document and it just seems like there's so many steps to get to.
But we dealt with it. We just you decided not to include it in this document.
Right.
Anything else?
It's great to be able to go through this draft and this excellent input. So Maureen, this is a great, version 1 of this draft. Board, what I'd like to suggest is that we take this and put it into our Google Drive with the ability to add comments and edits within that, and then we can establish a bit of a timeline So Maureen, going back to you, typically what do you see once we get to this draft stage? Do you see the board going through like the next iteration and completing that within a month or so? What do you typically see from where we are now in a draft?
I would propose, David, that people agree to what you suggested, and that is to use a Google Doc where people are contributing to that Google Doc. And then
Yep.
we see if there's a need for a follow-up discussion in a board meeting, which I'm more than willing to do. I think one of the things that will be smart is to complete this work before the transition to the new director.
Yes, that makes sense.
So when I heard Helene's news, I panicked, and Helene let me know she's with us through August, or at least early August. So I think it would be feasible to post the next iteration of this, which I would propose, Helene, you, Nancy, Jan, and I create based on this evening's discussion. And then we share this with the board, invite board members to continue to work on it. And then we see where we are. How does that sound?
I'd like to give, I don't know. I want the board to give feedback. I don't want to wait and have this drag out to the next meeting and have another discussion. I think you all agree with me with that. You wanted to get this done. So David, I don't know if you want to suggest a date that you can get it on the Google Doc, because I want to have a draft. I also want to go back to the staff one more time. So I don't know if you want to all come up with a date to have your comments in, and then we can move it along in the back end.
So as part of one of my actions, what I can do is I'll put it in the doc tonight. I'll send out an email with just some notes. Looking at where we are in June, we should all accomplish this, even before the July 4th break. We should look to have this, completed with input by, the middle of next week at the latest.
Great.
I think it's pretty simple because the structure of this is, a mission, vision, 4 goals, about 3 or 4 sub bullets within each of those. We're going to add some measurement and some metrics and maybe additional commentary at the end. But I think we do have, the core framework. And Maureen, before we complete this segment and you depart, as part of your final delivery to this project, do you provide any type of write-up in terms of the process that you went through, the folks that you interviewed, your overall sort of editorial on where Fairfield Public Library is now, and what you see as the benefits of this plan in the future?
I've never done that before, but I'd be happy to do something for you.
Okay.
It's usually not asked of me.
I think it would be, something simple, and I'm not asking for, something that's very long, just, a paragraph or 2 that just sum up your process and really your editorial on Fairfield. Something that might be a little bit outside of like a formal strategic plan.
Yep. I'll be happy to do it.
Thank you.
And I think it'll help again with the transition to the new director.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Then we get your narrative as the expert that helped lead this plan, and we can get a sense of, oh wow, this is what happened, and this is, some editorial. That would be very helpful.
Yep.
Terrific. So are there any other comments or questions of the plan or of Maureen? Anything else?
I think this is great. Really a great start. Very excited.
And a very good discussion this evening, as David has said. It's really good.
Oh, one other question I had is the raw data from the survey results. Do we have access to that? Is that something that we can also add to our Google Doc to look through?
Sure. I think, well, Jan has it some way that she shared with staff. I'm sure we can share it with you.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's lots of information. It might just be nice as a board member just to scan through it.
Mm-hmm. It's in a format that she shared with staff already, so it's not a problem to share it with you.
Wonderful. Very good. Well, Maureen, thank you very much. This has been excellent. So nice to work with you, and we look forward to sharing the thoughts in our edits. and we'll certainly work to complete this in short order. Helene, I think that's a really good idea.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good evening. Thank you, Maureen.
Good meeting.
Maureen.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Terrific. Okay, we are now going to, well, I forgot to call to order. Lori, you could timestamp the call to order at the beginning, 7:04. Why don't we spend a few minutes going through last month's minutes, and then we'll take a motion and a vote for that.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Would anyone like to second that?
Second.
Chris, all in favor? All right, approved. Lori, well done on scribing those minutes. Well, I know the audio was a little difficult last time, so great job.
Thank
Speaking
you.
of audio, I'm going to close my window. We've got neighborhood kids outside. Summertime's coming. All right, excellent. Let's move on to the chairman's report. So just a few quick things. We'll talk about the director search update first. So I did speak with Karen Miller, who is president of Bradbury Miller, last Friday. They've had the listing up for a little over a week now. And she assured me is that as part of their process, which is about a 6-week search, is they will typically generate about 20 to 30 qualified candidates. And it definitely increases towards the very end. So they've already received about 3 so far, and they're really gonna, get the majority at the end in July. A lot of people procrastinate, that's what she said, but I'm confident that we're going to find some great candidates. As they start to go through that, I'll be updating you all. I'll be working to have just about weekly connection with Karen and her team. They're a capable group, and I'm really glad that we're working with them. So that is underway. Also, as part of the marketing and advertising of that, it's currently on the Bradbury Miller website. We also want to do an update to the town website. Has got a section of their page dedicated to new listings for job openings. So Helene and Jan, I'll work with the two of you on that update. Karen had suggested you don't have to do it right away. It might be good to stagger that, but I'm fine with putting it up, this week. I don't think that it can hurt. So I'll work with you on that.
David, random question.
Sure.
How wide geographically is the net that they typically cast? Is it we just looking like within the region itself, or are they going nationwide? Like
It's a national search, and I will clarify with Karen if it's now just being targeted at regional or if it is truly national. But they do provide a national search. I remember when we did this a few years ago, we talked with candidates in Colorado, Utah, California. I think there were some down south, some in the Midwest, some in the Northeast, so it was national.
Chris and David, I've seen it on various listservs, so it's definitely
okay.
out there.
Good.
Yep, in the library listservs, it's out there.
Two.
You're insider
Yes,
right there.
it's out there.
So you're saying there's a librarian dark web?
Yes.
Exactly. You have to get your MLS
Dark
to
web.
have access to
Or
it.
be working on.
Terrific. Well, that August 31st date is fast approaching, but Helene, we're so glad that you're here with us through the next 2 months.
Thanks.
We'll be working with you and Jan on the search and update the whole board on all updates. So that's the director search. The other point that I wanted to bring up are the monthly meetings. So we're still in Zoom right now. We did have one last meeting in the Rotary Room. I'd like to recommend that we continue the next 2 meetings in the summer virtually, but we reconvene in September. There's no official town guidance, and I'm speaking with Brenda, our selectman on Wednesday, just as a report and an update, and I'll confirm with her what the guidance is. All signs are pointing to sort of reopening for businesses and a lot of organizations in the September timeframe. So I would like to suggest that we move it to September, back to the Rotary Room or to the main branch. In person, we can also provide WebEx for those that prefer to be virtual, but for the next 2, we will be virtual on WebEx. And a quick scheduling housekeeping update, for the week of the July meeting, I'm going to be out of town, unable to be the chair, and Jill has graciously offered to support as the pinch hitting chairman while I'm away. So we'll go through all the nice, Robert's rules and all that, and the board will keep you honest on, well, you didn't cover that because I certainly missed something every meeting. So
I
thank
actually
you.
was asked, so I never can say no to David.
Let me
so
rewind. I
that's
asked
fine.
Jill and she graciously accepted. Thank you, Jill, for your help on that.
It'll be a little different. We'll have some cocktails, the whole thing.
Yep. Now, a lot of the times going into the summer, we also will take a vote if we want to meet in August. I think this year we need to keep that August meeting because of everything that's happening with the search for a new director. At that time, we're going to be in the thick of fielding candidates. We're going to need some votes. We're going to have a new trustee on board. I think that it would be very helpful. If there are any issues with any of your schedules this summer, please reach out. But my recommendation is we do maintain a 12-month calendar this year. Okay, that's my chairman's report. Any comments or questions before we move on to the main program? Okay, great. Next up is old business. Helene, hopefully this will be the last of very few of these COVID updates, but I'm sure.
Well, so we continue to work with the health department, and the health department has said that we should have face masks in our buildings because of the vaccinated and unvaccinated, and that's mainly children under 12. So that's the reason there. You stay tuned. That's the reason today. I'm telling you, that's what's happening today. The children's room, obviously, they're in both places. There's no toys out. There's no play areas. It's really encouraging in and out, check out, and definitely face masks there. And they see the catalyst for changes in the children's department as is when the vaccination for under 12 is available. So that's what they see right now. That's what we're hearing right now. Today, we put seating back at Main, and the hours at Main are pretty much Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 to 5, Tuesday and Thursday, 9 to 7, and Saturday, 1 to 5. On Monday, this week, Woods is still doing curbside in the afternoons and only open in the mornings, but starting Monday, the 21st, Woods will be open. Let me get this right. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to 5, Monday and Wednesday, 9 to 7, and Saturday, 1 to 5. So, and they'll have seating as well. So we're heading back to more normalcy, and that's nice. And that's
tell you about the hours. What does that do to your staff? How many, what percentage of the staff are you now up to?
Well, full-time's totally back, and there was an adjustment to part-time. We're just not going to have the part-time staff that we had before. Well, we could have the same head count. They're not going to have the same hours because you end up with a lot of part-timers because some people can, only work Saturday afternoons or Mondays 5 to 7. Part-time work is a little bit challenging to find the right part-time just because people's schedules. So no, we probably won't have as much part-time help, but that's the way it goes.
Got it.
Helene, are you getting any feedback in terms of wanting more curbside, I guess? Being now that it's being phased out?
We were so worried about that. And the minute we opened Maine full-time, curbside at Maine went. I think the people still using curbside. it was just convenient hours that we were offering curbside. I could be wrong. I mean, we've been doing homebound, so people that really need homebound service, that's been continued through the whole thing. The problem is you can't really run curbside in tandem because the people you get run over. It just the way that the parking lots operate. It's just, and also with the big cut to part-time staff, it's really like a concierge service that we're not staffed for anymore.
That makes sense.
But in all, the good thing is that we saw once we had the doors open that went down, and a homebound is always available for people that need it.
All right. All great
That's
to hear. Any questions of Helene before we move on to the Woods update? All right, Helene, thank you for this COVID-19 update. Nancy,
Nancy, I'm sorry if I stole your Woods update. You can.
No. I don't really have much, but like Helene said, we are gearing up to opening up full time on Monday. So we're getting our seating ready and installing a few more computers. I will have to say, when I've been outside greeting, people have been very complimentary of everything that we've been doing and very appreciative, especially like for the curbside stuff. So it'll be interesting because Woods still in the afternoon is pretty curbside heavy. So it'll be interesting to see if we do get any pushback then, but it may just be a nice transition like Maine was as well. I would suggest that if you can come and visit, because our children's department has been transformed into our summer reading Tales and Tales. Christine, one of the children's department staff, has done a remarkable job of decorating with the theme, and it's really amazing. So I highly encourage you to come in and take a look. So we're gearing up for that as well. And that's about it. We've been pretty steady, and everyone's happy, and that's what we like to see.
Look forward to come for a visit. That's great to hear. Thank you, Nancy. All right, we're going to move on to space planning, and I believe, yes, Andrew, hey, welcome. How'd the MRI go?
Fine. It's just laying here still for 20 some odd minutes.
Yeah. Best wishes.
Yes, appreciate it.
You'll be back to normal soon. I know you're going through a lot right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's slow going right now.
Yeah. Sorry to hear about that. All right, so space planning update, Andrew, Helene, and Chris. I didn't get a chance to connect with you all this week before, but the floor is yours to provide an update on where we are with space planning.
Yeah, no significant updates. Chris, I don't know, you and I haven't chatted. I know there was a process of getting the money transferred out, some of the money transferred over in advance of any of these purchases. I don't know where we stand on that, but I think we were holding off. Was it 100,000 first? I'm sorry, I don't have this stuff. I just walked in the door, so I've been on the phone previously. Just pulling something up. Basically, there's no significant update from the last time we met.
What I can tell you is, so the furniture has been ordered for that first phase. We ordered it. I think what happened was, and we spoke with 4D, and they gave us a date of September for all the furniture to come because they were putting it all in one order: the Woods, the space, the study rooms, and Maine. I wasn't thrilled with that. I spoke to David a little bit about it. So now there might be a little bit of a cost to splitting the deliveries up a little bit so we get things sooner, because they were also anxious that we hadn't started breaking ground on the study room. So they were, there was some. So right now, the goal is to get some of the stuff earlier than September. So I'm waiting for them to get back to me, and I should hear hopefully this week or next week. I will email you and give you what the outcome of that was.
Are you finding, are they giving you any feedback in terms of delays?
There's tons of delays. That's what the problem is. There's tons of delays, materials, shipping, everything. So, yeah.
Okay. The reason why I ask is I know in my wife's business, we're seeing delays of anywhere between 3 to 6 months on like ordering a couch, let alone, anything more significant than that. So,
and the other problem is like it's summertime, so the school stuff takes priority. So the fact that we put it in this late, the order, that we're in the middle of the schools, but we'll see what they say. Maybe they can move some things up. They're saying September now, maybe they can move some things up.
Space Planning Committee, a question for you in regards to the furniture is we've seen just a description of everything. Is there a catalog that we as a board can look at in terms of, what we can expect that's being delivered? I think that it would be good, like as informational of, hey, this is what's been ordered. This is what Philip selected. I don't think we've seen that yet. Is that available?
Jan, it is available. You could
Okay.
come look at it.
Yeah, we have a
This is
binder
Space
that
Planning
has
Bible.
all of the pieces and their models and descriptions, and actually has stapled in it like the fabric or the material, whatever it's going to be made from. I don't know how I can make that available to you. I could send it, but it's not. You won't see the actual fabrics. You'll see the colors, and the colors are pretty off from the.
Yeah, I don't mean for you to do extra work. If there was some type of digital PDF that was as a result of the order of what we selected, would be great. Jan, and my next visit, I could go through it. I don't want
We
to
can
create
put
extra
something
work.
together. It's not going to look true. That the whole point is the stuff that's online is not. I mean, you'll see what the furniture looks like, the colors. If that's not, yeah.
Well, Jan, hold on that. Next time I'm in the library, we could talk about it. I don't want to create extra work.
All right.
Okay, so, and Helene, yes, I understand what you mean about the staggered delivery. In addition to the furniture, where are we with the study room construction?
They are saying July it's going to start, but that was the last, I spoke with them today. I asked for a specific timeline and she said I should get that by the end of the week. So I will share that with you. There were some drawings that had to be updated because electrical outlets, and that all got to them. So it should be updated this week.
Okay. So July's around the corner, which is great. And
I know it's just, we all feel the same way. Every time we take a step forward, it's like move, we really.
But we're good with, the approvals through engineering, the town.
Right,
and
we
all
have
that.
the permit, we have all that,
Okay.
yes.
Great. And the estimate in terms of completion, 3 to 4 months, maybe longer, or what do you think?
Well, if it's July, they anticipate being done by September, and that's why the furniture, they were trying to match it with that. That's what they're saying now. I will get you a timeline, though. I want them to give you something you can see.
Yeah. It'll be tight, and certainly there are, supply chain issues. But getting started this summer with the delivery of the furniture, we could be looking at, the middle of the fall by having this all completed. So it seems to be trending well. Terrific. So we talked about the study rooms and the furniture. Was there anything else on the space planning? Those are the two big things.
No.
Okay.
Just the movement of the funds, and that's in progress, correct?
Yeah.
So that's, then we're good.
Okay. We'll ask Chris some of those details when we get to the treasurer's report. Okay, let's move on to the operations report. Back to you, Helene.
Okay, I gave you the new hours. We hired a part-time custodian, very excited at Maine, and he's doing a wonderful job. He has, I think he seems to, he comes experienced, and he's doing a really great job and fitting in. And the full-time custodian we have at Maine is doing a lot to get him on board, but he really, Jan, do you want to say anything about Sean Quintiliano? I mean, he's
it really doesn't feel like enough, especially our full-time custodian is on vacation this week. So we're trying to stretch a 19-hour position to fill what would have been two full-time positions. So
it's pretty amazing, though.
He's doing a great job, and we've got him. Well, is actually flexible enough that he changed his hours to come later in the day to cover both times.
To help us out this week for the vacation. Yes.
So we're really happy to have him.
Yes, we're very happy to have him. And especially with Rich going on vacation the first week that we offered seating, we're very happy to have him. So, right now, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the, Jan might have to jump in on this, ARPA grants, ARPA. It's the American Rescue Plan Act. And it's funding from the federal government to be used by states by September 2022. And it's supposed to help communities respond directly and immediately to the pandemic, as well as related to economic and community needs through equitable approaches. So they're giving us money. There's a certain pot of money in Connecticut that libraries have access to improve things. The federal government was a little bit late in getting us the money out and telling us we could have it, because they said, oh, it could be used for plexiglass dividers and cleaning materials. It was a lot of the stuff that had been done already. Outdoor. I don't even know. The list went on, and it was so many things that we had taken care of already. So that was kind of challenging. So right now we're looking at some interesting ideas. Outdoor charging stations. We're looking at Nancy, what's the book thing?
The pop-up library.
The pop-up library that could travel out into the community to do some outreach. So we're looking at a few different options. There's a lot of rules of how the money could be spent. Unfortunately, we cannot spend it on mobile hotspots. So that was, of course, our first choice. We cannot spend it on that. So we're looking at some things that the money can be used for, and we will definitely have the application done. We will tell you what we're doing. There's a lot of rules, but we're working our way through it, so we'll be on time with the application.
Helene, do you have an idea of what size that grant may be?
Jan?
22,000 and change.
Okay, great.
I gave you
Some
that.
states are allowing it to be spent on digital materials, but unfortunately Connecticut is not one
It's
of
not.
them.
Okay.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
And then everything else I think I gave you already, the seating, the strategic plan update, and the posting for the new librarian, as you know, went live. So that's my report for right now.
Terrific. Thank you, Helene. All right, we're gonna move on to Jan with finance report.
So if you look at the town budget, it's pretty well getting spent down. It's a big difference from last month. The materials, we'll have that all gone for sure. And some of the lines we have no control over, communications, the phone bill, the water bill, that kind of thing, but we're doing the best we can to get it all spent down. And then on the revolving fund, there was quite a bit of activity this month. If you look at the revolving report that I sent out,
And that was a separate email, correct?
yeah, just this evening, prior to the meeting. So we got the 83,000 in and the 30,000 in for the RFID, the general expenses, which include Bradbury Miller. So there's a little bit of money there to pay more bills on the space plan. There's actually a big check out there that hasn't cleared as well. So a lot of activity there, which you can see in the check detail as well. Any questions?
None for me. Board, any questions for Jan from finance? Okay, great, Jan. Thank you for sending that additional detail in your report. We're going to move on to treasurer's report. Chris, and I think that you also sent an email before this meeting.
Yeah, I sent an email just before, just so you guys can see where the funds are right now in terms of performance. Same spiel, market's better, our funds continue to grow. I think my update's going to be more centered on where we are in terms of transitioning everything from where it is currently in Vanguard, which is on the retail side, over onto the institutional. it's been a little bit slower. We got all of our information in. Right now we've hit a slog, I'm gonna say, where everything's kind of slowed down in the sense we are waiting for them to approve um, essentially what our articles of incorporation look like, which is very different from a typical company that they deal with. Ours essentially is a few pages from our town charter that allow us to exist and specify our purpose, what our goal is, how many members, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Vanguard doesn't necessarily see this all the time, and that's become apparent after talking with Duncan. I think was that like 2, 3 weeks ago. He assured me that this is not a first-time problem. This is very similar to the issue that he had when he was going through it a couple of years ago. So at least that gave me some comfort. I've spoken to our rep a couple of times, and he thinks he's sorted out with his compliance group, and that we should be able to get everything
Hey,
moved
Chris,
forward
yeah,
shortly.
there's one other thing that I recalled actually after getting your email today that you might consider. And I think a copy of this may be in that 3-ring binder that I gave you. We also sent a letter from Betsy Brown that basically stated something to the effect of that the library endowment, is couched under the town of Fairfield. And so
Right.
when
Okay.
taken along with the town charter, the select pages that you mentioned, should be reasonably sufficient. That was kind of a one way to sort of get out of jail, if you will, for those folks. If that letter's not in there, let me know. But I thought I put a copy of that. If not, it's in the 2 binders in Helene's office.
Okay.
A copy of that too, and I can give it to you. And basically, all I did was just send something over to Betsy for her signature, and she signed it and sent it back to me, and then I forwarded it over to Vanguard.
Okay.
So that
So
might be another process or another help along that way.
yeah, I'll go over and I'll try to grab that note from the library. That's essentially the way we got around it is addressing essentially what you just talked about, and that took place on Friday. So, um, I reached out to Andre, who's our rep, who's working through this setup today, and he didn't have an answer back from compliance. I'm hopeful that this gets sorted out sooner as opposed to later, but it's been pretty slow. Their compliance group is very much by the books, is what I'm finding.
Thanks for the update. I mean, it's surprising that even just a simple setup like this takes some time like that.
I'm a little surprised by it as well. To be perfectly honest with you, like I work for a very bureaucratic organization, and this is much more bureaucratic than my organization. But at the same time, I get it. They are handling and managing other individuals' monies, and so they need to make sure that they do everything in a very specific and correct way to avoid any issues potentially later on down the road.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that update. That's helpful. And then Chris, in terms of where we were last month's meeting with the vote for the drawdown, and as we completed our process and readout, where are we on the drawdown? Do we have a schedule of that drawdown? I know we were going to stagger it through this year.
Yeah, so the first drawdown, Andrew and I got together and we agreed on the first drawdown, which was going to be 125,000, which is in the process of coming right now. Andrew and I need to sit down and talk about when the second one would take place, and we'll do that in the next week or two. And we'll by the next meeting or earlier, we'll be able to give you a rough idea as to what the schedule looks like, and then we'll be able to go from there.
Okay. And Helene and Jan, do we have proper funds within our First County banks to pay all the outstanding invoices right now? Or are we also counting on that next drawdown to support that?
Well, the furniture's been ordered and we don't have the money to pay for that, so.
Yeah, so we're counting on the drawdown for that, but that, we're not invoiced on that yet. So yes, everything we've been invoiced for, we're covered for, yes.
Okay, that answers what I was
Right.
interested in. Okay,
Okay.
that's great. All right, Chris, it'll be good to see like the schedule if we have that. And then maybe we can figure out maybe the timing of those invoices, like for is the furniture are we paying Dirt directly as the middleman, or are we paying, who's the supplier for the furniture?
So Dirt, the green box Dirt, that's the study room, like walls and all that. And the
Yeah,
furniture is Robert Lord.
Robert
So
Lord, right.
it's two, yeah, so it's two different things.
So they have something like a net 30 or net 45 in terms of the payment on that?
It's something like that. But
Okay.
you know, when we see the timeline, I'll put when things are due on that.
Okay, that's cool. And we don't have to wait for, a monthly meeting to approve that. We've already approved the fund. So as soon as like an
Right.
invoice comes out,
Right.
then Chris, we can align on, okay, it's time for that drawdown to support that. And you said the turn on like a check from them, it's about 5 days.
And yeah, right now that's going to be quicker once we move over onto the institutional side.
That's
Right now,
right.
it's because we're on the
Okay.
retail platform, it's
Yeah.
much, much slower.
And as far as that,
I'm sorry. I can't remember if we agreed or what we decided at the end of the day on the last one is, are we going to continue with the paper checks, or are we going to move to wiring funds?
we're going to go to wiring funds
Okay.
to keep that that record.
Okay. Yeah, so once that takes place, I'd have to check with Vanguard, but I think let me check with Vanguard with the turnover. The turnover will be shorter. I don't know if it'll be 3 days or specifically what it'll be.
Okay, I mean that's still very quick. We'll be able to take care of those invoices right away.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Chris, from the treasurer's report?
Nothing on our side right now.
I
Okay.
have one treasurer question. Chris, did you get the debit card for the First County account? Did you ever get that?
I never got one now.
Okay, so we need to definitely get that and keep it in the office. Because we had Duncan's when he was there, but especially when I leave, that it'll make the transition easier if there's a debit card there that you can control.
I will. I need to go over there anyway in the next day or two.
Okay, and just say you need a debit card for the account.
Yep, that's fine.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Quick question. I mean, currently? How is it set up? Is it in your name or how? I
You
know
have
that
one
you're
here
saying
that
one
you-
for me, but do you have one for you as well or no?
I have one and you'll have one, yeah. Because Duncan's got taken off, yes.
Been shredded, right?
Yes. I had it framed for you. No, shredded right away.
All right, thank you for the treasurer's report, Chris, and good question, Helene. Let's move on to the Friends of the Library, but I don't see Leanne or Jackie. And I had meant to reach out to Leanne this past week, so I'm going to make a note to do so to see if they're going to continue to join us.
Okay, their
so-
meeting, they changed their meeting. It was supposed to be tomorrow. They're having it a week from Tuesday just because of graduations and everything.
Okay.
They're definitely doing the food truck festival in October. They gave the date before. I don't have it right now. And we're working with them to start, I get dates ready during the summer to start the book sale again and all that. So they're getting geared up again. So we'll work with them for the fall.
Okay. I'll see if I can actually join
Right.
that if there was next Tuesday. That would be good because I couldn't make the last one. Okay. All right, great. This moves us on to new business. So there are a few points that I wanted to raise and certainly open it up. The first is going to be our new trustee seat vacancy. I want to talk a little bit about Duncan towards the end here, who's rounding off his last meeting. Before we do that, Jill, you may want to introduce where we are with the search for a new trustee. Do you want to talk about our candidate that we're going to introduce or take a vote on?
Sure. So I think David mentioned we had a nice rounding of candidates that applied. And Duncan and I actually had interviews with 3 of the folks. And after some careful conversations and discussion of people's excitement about being on the board, it was kind of discussed with David, of course, what we found. And it looks like Peter Wilner is the trustee candidate that we're recommending to the board for, I guess, really nomination to the town. Peter has a very interesting background and really fits so well, I think, with the board. He has his PhD in education, but over the last, I don't know, 40 years of his career, 35, 40 years of his career, he's actually been an integral part of doing fundraising and leading various nonprofits. And has done a ton of work around working with various groups, such as the UJA Federation in New York, the Anti-Defamation League, and his start in the library and why he loves libraries so much, not only as he understands it's such an important part of our community, but also growing up in the city in Queens as a young boy, he would go and spend a lot of time at the library, which we found very endearing as well. So he really comes with some great credentials, working within the nonprofit areas. And he also asked some really great questions of us in our interview as well, including talking about the endowment, how that works, suggested seeking out funding from some other charitable organizations that we might not have kind of looked at before. And then he also discussed something that was interesting to us, which was about the new members of our community. With COVID, it moved a lot of people out of some of the city and urban areas into the Fairfield area. And he said, are we considering these new folks living in our community utilizing the library, and how are we going to kind of support that with our infrastructure and resources? So I thought those were really great topics, and I think Duncan and David felt the same way. So that's who we'd like to recommend for nomination to the first selectman for appointing into the trustee seat that our lovely and beloved Duncan is going to be leaving.
Thank you for that readout. So to make it official, and I think that everyone has seen all that information in the write-ups on this, would anyone like to make a motion? Then we can second and then take a vote.
Anybody?
Jill or Duncan, would you like to take that first motion?
Oh, I'll make the motion to nominate Peter Wilner as our next trustee member.
Terrific. Would anyone like to second that?
I will second that.
All right, all in favor? Wonderful. Terrific. So Peter, I spoke with him on Friday. He's looking forward to this and told him that this would be to an official vote tonight. So my actions is to line Peter up with Brenda's office this week. He's got to fill out a form, and he's going to attend the Board of Selectmen meeting on Monday for the official appointment. So this is all lining up very quickly, but he will join us in the July meeting. I will also be communicating with all the folks that we interviewed and all the inquiries. I'll be doing that tomorrow. And the message is, we really appreciate all of the interest and their terrific time. There's some great candidates. We have a new opening every year at this time of the year, and plus there's also the Friends organization. So we had a lot of interest. The advertising in the newsletter created a lot of interest, and also on our social media platform. Jan and Helene, thank you for that. That really, really helped. Terrific. I would like to talk about one thing before we want to end with talking about Duncan. Before we do that, let's the other item are the study room fees. Jill and Helene, you had shared a file, or Helene, you shared a file with Jill around our study rooms. Do either one of you want to bring that up? Because I think there are a few on the call that are not aware of this. That was some good information. I think it's a great topic.
Okay, I'll just start and Jill can jump in. I had reached out to Jill because she is a library student and she always seems to be working and doing extra things. The study rooms, we hopefully, not the study rooms, let me get this straight, the meeting rooms, not study rooms. Study rooms are free.
Yep.
meeting rooms. Right now, we hope to open them in the fall. And the board, as you know, is responsible for setting the fees on these rooms. And when I came on, the fees had been set, and at one point we discussed switching them up. And the fees, there's a whole schedule of resident versus non-resident, nonprofit versus profit. There's, how much time you spend in the rooms. But we found that probably our pricing might be a little off. So what I had given to Jill and Jill and I said to David is I had done a while back, looked at area libraries and what they charge for their rooms. And there is a little bit of a difference with association libraries and municipal libraries. So I gave it to Jill and I suggested that the board look at this pricing of rooms before we reopen in the fall, that might be, it might be better to do it before everything gets reopened again. Also to tell you, if you notice on our budget every year, the revenue from the rooms goes straight to the town, to be clear on that. That's part of our revenue that we give to the town. So the rooms.
Yeah.
And Jill, you can jump in anytime.
I don't have much to say about it. I think it's a great idea that we look into that, just because I know of within even my grad school program, that's something that we talk about in terms of income. But like Helene was saying, it's not always kind of given to the town itself, the income from it. Some libraries, depending on who they are, get to keep that funding. And I think it depends on the rate of who uses it, what kind of events that they're using it for. Obviously, like she was saying, resident versus non-resident. And then if it's for a nonprofit event or something like of those sorts, obviously it's prorated to be good to those folks, so it's not so expensive. But I think it's definitely something that we should look at, given that I think it's going to be a big increase coming forward now that we're getting out of COVID of use.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that why don't we do this is that we can share this, the file and the schedule, and that next month or in August, we can review as a board and we can vote on the increase. For what we're charging right now, an increase of a certain percent, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference to the users. But at current rates, we are probably undercharging with what the market typically charges. So it would be a good thing for us to revisit that and take a vote on an increase for these meeting rooms. So we'll move that to one of the agendas for July or August.
Good.
Terrific.
And if you look on the website under meeting rooms, all your pricing is there. So if you want to look at any of it, and I'll supply the spreadsheet that says what other libraries charge.
Oh, that's great, Helene. I was going to say, if you guys want me to do a little due diligence, I can pull some stuff, but if you have that. Yay.
Well, that's what I sent you. That's what that Excel sheet is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't look through the whole sheet.
No.
Sorry. I actually just started another full-time job, so I just.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm a little bent at the moment.
Congratulations.
I'm excited about working on it. Great.
Being the old timer in the office now, it seems like it's not that long ago that we did increase the rates and change the whole structure. I think this time it probably won't be so much of a structural change, but it did take months and months of work. Were you on the board then, Duncan?
I remember some discussion around this, maybe when I first joined.
Yeah, it was pre-me, and that's what I mean. That there's been comments, the members of town hall said, wow, these rates do you think they're too low? I know there's conversation both ways. But anyway, even that, they haven't been touched since 2018, so 2017, I think, 2017, so.
Well, as we go through the process, Jan, we welcome, some of your input and your learnings from last time. I'm glad to know that you worked on that. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Wonderful. All right, we're nearing the end of our agenda. Before we talk a little bit about our departing trustee, is there any other new business or any other topics that anyone wants to raise? All right, well, I'd like to, offer a tribute of thanks to Duncan Banfield, who has made a absolutely tremendous impact and benefit to the board, to the library, to all of us, past trustees, current, and even to Peter that's coming in. We thank you, Duncan, for your service, for your guidance, your maturity, your humor, your, the way that you think, your ideas. You've given all of us individually and as a group just tremendous guidance. Your support, being the treasurer when you were, set us on the path to sort of like the modern treasury that we are now. And I know personally, I've learned a tremendous amount. When Duncan and I have known each other for 10 years. When I moved to town with our young family, and he was in town not too long before we had moved, we're part of the same nursery school at St. Paul's. And through a friends gathering, I learned from him that he had been part of, or is just joining the library board as a trustee, and it sounded really interesting. So be careful what you get interested in or what you wish for, because here we are 5 years later. And I have to say, I am so glad to have talked with Duncan about it and to have been part of a nonprofit and served on a board, and being part of the library and the FPL and the board of trustees is just a terrific experience. I did, right before this meeting, drop off a gift. I think you all are aware of the gift that we gave to Duncan in appreciation of his service. He's going to hold it up for us. It's nice. It's a steak board.
Beautiful.
Chef Banfield's got an engraving on the back with our logo. There we go. Did I get those years correct, Duncan? I was so worried about the typos. And I also want to recognize Helene. Thank you. You made me realize on Friday. She said, because we usually catch up before these meetings. She's like, "So David, how's that gift coming for Duncan?" Well, we got it done. And Duncan, again, I just want to say you've made a huge difference in a very positive way, and we are all better as individuals and trustees. Thank you.
That's too much smoke, David, but thank you. But sincerely, thank you all very much. One of the things that libraries represent to me is always, a chance to learn and all about learning. And I've always considered myself a lifelong learner and have enjoyed that. And I think that, the measure of success in anything has been, geez, did I learn anything? And boy, did I in 5 years with this board, the good, the bad, the ugly, but the great also. Look, a big part of that is the people that make up the organization, and every one of you, from the folks that have served on the board, that currently serve on the board. It's been truly a pleasure to work with you, to understand your points of view, to really recognize that we're all driving towards the same objective, to make the library better, to be a better part of the community. But really the staff of the library, I mean, obviously we see Nancy, Helene, Jan on a regular basis, but I've had a chance to form some relationships with others in the library as well. It's just a great group of people, and a great center for the town. And I'm really just honored. It's been a lot of fun. Yes, there have certainly been some weeks that David, they were all wondering, and what's Banfield going to do now? But at the same time, truly, it's been a lot of fun. We've done some cool things, and the measure is that we left the town better. Yes, certainly not all my doing. Certainly, it's the group's doing, and we've left this organization a better place. So. I'm not going far. I still live, 2-3 blocks from the library. I'll be around and about. So patron here and there. But again, I wish you all the very best of luck. I think you're on very solid footing. I think what I said to Peter, Jill, you raised, the fact that he had some interesting questions, and one was around the organization. Look, we've had some great leadership. We've undergone transition. We're going through some transition with the start of a new strategic plan, and Helene, with your transition out, but you've made an indelible impact, and no doubt, I think the board and the library set up for future success. So wish you all the best. Obviously, if you've got questions, by any means, feel free to reach out. But again, I thank you for the opportunity to serve with you.
Terrific.
And thank you also for this cool gift. I like the practicality. I made room on my shelf for a silver bowl, but I got a cutting board instead. No, this is awesome.
David, he's upset. See, look what you did.
But no, this is hugely thoughtful and not necessary, but I really appreciate it. Thank you all very much.
Most welcome. you will be greatly missed. But we also know, and we talked a little bit about this today, Duncan, is that you'll be seeing, a lot of the things that you worked on and that we're working on now come through or come to fruition. And that's one of the great things is about being part of the board and being a member of the community, is that we're working on things that are making an impact on the library, our patrons, our community, and well beyond our terms as trustees.
Yep.
As we serve and as we are part of these projects, those 6 years are long, but they also go by really quick. So great organization, great people. Again, thank you, Duncan.
Thank you all.
Duncan, I don't even know what to say. Luckily he stopped by today, so I got to see him. But
good.
Jan and what you mean to this library is just, thank you so much.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you all. Again, you're all in very good hands. You've got a great new member joining. It's a great group. So while I've been fortunate to be able to roll through, you got other great people as well.
Going through that endowment and putting things together through the endowment, you just at key times you've been there, and that's what you say about the strong footing right now. You were a key part of getting us on that strong footing. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you all.
It's good we can get to see you around town still, Duncan.
I'll be around. Don't worry.
Remember, he said that when we all stopped plugging in.
That's right. Good stuff. Well, I wish you all the best of the summer. And again, all success in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And look forward to seeing everyone here, in person, even though we'll get through the summer and the next few virtual. Looking forward to getting back to in person. We've been able to successfully be very consistent with our meetings, and looking forward to, continuing all the things that we're doing now in person, and all of our other initiatives. So terrific. All right. Well, with that, we are going to adjourn. We're going to call this at 8:29. Wish you all a great evening. We'll talk to a lot of you soon.
Is somebody supposed to move?
Duncan needs to say that. Come on, Duncan.
Duncan, come on, say it.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, don't I get to make the motion?
Yeah.
All right, go again. See, Jill,
Waiting for
Jill,
that.
that's what I have to tell you.
I was waiting for you to fall into it, David. Thank you for the lob.
Okay, great. There's my,
Who's gonna do that
comedic
on the
end.
next one? Shoot.
I know. I was going to say I'm going to have to call in.
Hold on. Before I do that, did anyone else have any other words they wanted to say? Christina, Andrew, Chris, I sort of cut you guys off, or Nancy, about Duncan.
No, please.
Are we
don't.
done?
Enough smoke.
Duncan, you're done now.
Yeah,
That's enough. Done. I'm cutting them off.
I see Duncan like every other day at school, so I can,
I'd just like to say that, Duncan, I'd like to say something very quick, Duncan. I just wanted you to know how much I appreciate your kindness and welcoming to new trustees. Learned a lot. You really set the pick in terms of what it is to be a really great trustee for our board. And I just want you to know I personally really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to miss you.
I'm around. I'll be reading those minutes.
Oh, no.
I'm going to have Duncan dial in next meeting.
Oh, gosh. He met.
So I am going to cut you off. It being 8:30.
I got to go.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'm all about promptness. I would be truly honored as one of my last efforts here to make a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
I will second that.
Right.
That was pretty quick, David. Come on.
My air conditioning broke. I gotta go. All in favor? All right. Happy Monday night, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Duncan.
Good night.
care,
Thanks, Duncan.
Thank you.
Be well. Be well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.